Yo, what's up guys? My name is Genesis and we are back here with another video. So if you looked at this, if you were brought to this video by the thumbnail which says the antidote to suffering, which seems like the solution to suffering, or if you interpret it in a literally, it could be like, oh, now after watching this video you won't suffer anymore. And that's not right. But the reason why I use this thumbnail, like antidote to suffering, is things that I have learned that no matter how you try to avoid suffering, like growing up in a family where I grew up from, I always wondered if everyone suffers like me. And suffering doesn't even have to be only physically, but it could also be, no, it's not like it could also be, it is also mentally. Some people suffer mentally, maybe because of the mental health issues. It could be because of trauma. Others suffer physically, maybe because of it could be from being hurt physically. But on this self-improvement journey, I think you suffer more mentally than you do physically. Think about it in a way. When I used to contemplate about hurting myself or taking my own life, there was this voice in my mind which was always like, if you take your own life right now, there will be no more suffering, which is true in that regards, that as long as you're alive, you cannot avoid suffering, whether you're suffering because you don't have what you need or what you want or what you desire to have, whether it's suffering because you are not who you are or who you are meant to be. And I think that was the most suffering part that I was struggling with. I'm so sure I didn't want to die. Probably I wanted things or the environment that was around me to change in a better way, or I wanted to find something that if I did it, the suffering part would be bearable. And that's the only way I have found that life is suffering. Just like you're born and you die, the suffering part of life is what gives it value. Imagine if everything was easy and you didn't have to suffer to get anything. Like imagine if Tyson Fury or Mike Tyson, to be able to be of how great they are or things they have achieved, they didn't have to train hard or dedicate and be patient and sacrifice all they had to sacrifice. Then everyone would be successful and there would be no meaning. So one of the most top principles that I have learned from like Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, David Goggins, even Jesus in the Bible himself, is that there's no way we can avoid suffering. And suffering, things being hard, they give everything value. And the only way now you can bear this suffering, the only antidote that I'm sharing in this video, that I'm using with my life, is knowing that I cannot escape the suffering part of life, but if I can find things that I can do with my life that make the suffering part about life so bearable, that I will not think about like, oh, I'm so suffering, or life is so evil, everything's so hurting, but I'm only thinking about the positive things, like what is going to come out of this self-improvement journey, what is going to come out from you going to the gym every day, or what is going to come out from you sacrificing different things, or giving up your bad habits, or staying away from like alcohol, staying away from drugs, and staying away from porn, and staying away from all these things. All these things, if I put them away and suffer as I'm putting them away, because it's not easier to abandon all these habits, or it's not easier to dedicate your life or sacrifice your time, sacrifice your hanging out with different kinds of friends, sacrifice everything else, to lock in and suffer that way, than you being the best version of yourself. So you have to choose to suffer in that way of sacrificing, of staying away from all these things, to being the best version of yourself, because we all know the best versions of ourselves, and they are in our minds. Because in your mind, you know how, you know what you want to be, and you know that you're not that person yet, and you also know what is keeping you from becoming that person. Most of us, we know, like, we are not where we want to be, and the only way you're going to achieve that is by suffering, by sacrificing some of the things, sacrificing who you are now to who you could be in the future. And if you're watching this video, I'm not saying that I'm the perfect guy that you have to follow or anything like that. This is me trying to navigate my own journey in becoming Kwasa, or in becoming the best version of myself. And by doing that is also learning that suffering is part of everything. So I've dropped a thing where even though life is suffering, I'm not trying to run away from it, because I know everything you want is on the other side of the things that you don't want to do. And I'm choosing to suffer with joy. That's how, maybe this should be the title of this video: how to suffer with joy. And another thing I could talk about as the antidote of suffering is being able to try and find some responsibilities that you can take on with your life. So even though you might be suffering physically or mentally, that you do not think about the suffering or the evil part or the negative part about life. Because as long as you accept and you're here and you're living, then suffering will be by your side. It should be your friend, and there's no way you can run away from it. So if you want to be great, if you want to achieve different kinds of things, if you want to be the best version of yourself, then stop running away from suffering, but instead choose to suffer in the right way. You can suffer being a dog, you can suffer being a retard, or you can also suffer trying to be some smart ass, or by trying to be the best version of yourself. My name is Kwasa Genesis, and I will see you in the next video.